There comes a moment in every person's life when they finally realize the truth. No one is coming to save them. Not their parents, not their friends, not their boss, not even luck. The world doesn't owe you a rescue. It only gives you opportunities disguised as problems. And what you do with those problems defines who you become. When I was younger, I used to wait for help. I thought maybe one day someone would see my potential, give me a chance, open a door for me. I used to imagine a phone call that would change my life, a miracle, a lucky break. But that call never came. And that silence became my greatest teacher. It taught me one of the hardest truths. If you keep waiting for someone to believe in you, you'll wait forever. The world doesn't believe in potential. It believes in proof. And proof only comes when you start building, even when no one is clapping. When I started my first company, I had nothing. No money, no connections, no fancy office. Just a small room, a borrowed computer, and a big dream that no one else could see. People laughed. They said, "Jack, it's impossible. You're not from the right background. You don't have the right education." I smiled and said, "You might be right, but I have one thing: time. And I'll spend it building while you spend it talking." Every dream begins alone. Every empire begins in silence. When you're building something meaningful, don't expect applause. Expect doubt. Expect resistance. Expect nights where you question your sanity. But those nights are the price of greatness. You see, we live in a world where people want success to be quick, convenient, and comfortable. They want the results without the responsibility. They want freedom without the fight. But real freedom only comes when you stop depending on others to pull you forward. The day you realize that you are your own rescue, everything changes. You stop waiting, you start creating. You stop blaming, you start building. When I founded Alibaba, I had 17 friends in my apartment. We didn't have investors, we didn't have credibility. We only had belief, and even that was fragile. Some of them left after a few months. Others stayed, but doubted. But I kept building because I knew something most people forget. The world never believes in your dream until you make it impossible to ignore. People often ask me, "Jack, how do I find the right team, the right investors, the right people to believe in me?" And I tell them, first, become the kind of person worth believing in. If you can't lead yourself, you can't lead anyone. If you can't believe in your own vision when it's invisible, no one else will. There were times when I felt completely alone. I would wake up at 4 a.m., my mind filled with doubt. I wondered if I was wasting my time. My friends were getting married, buying cars, living comfortably, and here I was, broke, tired, and building something that barely existed. But those lonely mornings were my strength training, because when you build alone, you develop muscles that no comfort zone can give you: discipline, resilience, and clarity. Most people fail because they think they need motivation every day, but motivation fades. Discipline doesn't. The world belongs to the disciplined, those who do what needs to be done even when they don't feel like it. When you decide to build alone, something magical happens. You stop chasing validation. You stop needing people to understand you. And in that silence, your voice becomes stronger. Your purpose becomes louder. You begin to see what others can't, not because you're special, but because you've learned to listen to the silence. Silence is not empty. It's full of answers. The truth is, most people never start because they want guarantees. They want the whole staircase visible before taking the first step. But life doesn't work that way. You take the first step, and then the next one appears. Courage creates clarity. Action builds belief. No one will ever hand you success wrapped in a ribbon. You must carve it out of rejection, failure, and sleepless nights. That's why the strongest people in the world aren't the smartest. They're the ones who kept going when everyone else stopped. When you build alone, you learn to solve your own problems. You stop saying, "I don't have time." Instead, you start saying, "I'll make time." You stop saying, "I don't know how." You start saying, "I'll learn." You stop saying, "I can't." You start saying, "I'll try." Each small victory builds momentum, and one day you look back and realize that the person who once waited for help has become the person others now come to for help. Let me tell you something I learned the hard way. You don't grow when life is easy. You grow when life forces you to become resourceful. Every rejection, every failure, every lonely night is a training session for greatness. When people say, "Jack, you're lucky," I smile. Luck didn't build Alibaba. Consistency did. Persistence did. The willingness to fail in public and keep going did. You want success? Then stop chasing shortcuts. Stop chasing comfort. Build alone until the results start speaking for you. Building alone doesn't mean you shut out the world. It means you stop depending on it. It means you find strength in silence and focus in solitude. You stop waiting for permission. You give yourself permission. In the early days, no one invited me to speak at events. No one cared about my opinion. I wasn't famous. I wasn't rich. But I treated every small opportunity like it mattered because it did. Every small effort you make when no one's watching compounds over time. People often give up too early because they confuse silence with failure. They think no one's noticing, so maybe I'm not good enough. But remember, a seed grows in darkness long before it breaks through the soil. Just because no one can see your growth doesn't mean it's not happening. You must fall in love with progress, not praise. Fall in love with the process, not the outcome, because the outcome is built in the process. Every time you feel like quitting, remind yourself, the world doesn't need another dreamer. It needs builders. Dreamers talk, builders act. If you keep talking about what you'll do one day, that day will never come. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is today. You can read every motivational quote in the world, watch every video, attend every seminar, but if you don't act, nothing changes. Action is the difference between wishing and winning. When you're building alone, you'll lose people, you'll lose comfort, you'll lose sleep, but you'll gain yourself. And once you truly find yourself, no loss can break you again. The path to greatness is not crowded because it's lonely. Most people quit when they realize how long it takes, but that's exactly why few succeed. The longer the road, the fewer the travelers, and the more valuable the destination. The world respects results, not excuses, not intentions, not promises, results. So stop waiting for someone to rescue you. Be your own rescue. You were not born to be saved. You were born to be built. Built by failure, built by rejection, built by effort. When you accept that no one's coming to save you, something incredible happens. You stop being afraid. You realize that you are the author of your own story. You are the builder of your own empire. You are the only one who can decide whether to stay the same or rise above. And here's the final truth for today. The world may not owe you success, but it gives you a fair chance to build it. Every day you wake up, you have the same 24 hours as everyone else, rich or poor, genius or average. The difference is how you use them. Use them to build. Use them to learn. Use them to rise. Because if you don't build your own dream, you will spend your life building someone else's. So stop waiting. Start building. Alone if you have to. Quietly if you must. But start, because no one's coming to save you.